Something changed in my life and it has the real potential to affect my business, and maybe not in a good way. Look, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I'm engaged. In all seriousness, this is absolutely a positive update. I'm thrilled, but I am also very aware that as a business owner, there can be times when you are feeling dramatically pulled between doing what's right for your business and your personal life and just other things going on. And I have felt that incredibly in the last month since I got engaged, as we jumped headfirst into wedding planning, which I know lots of people don't recommend, but it was right for us for a variety of logistical reasons. And I was just a whole lot less productive in my business than I would like to be, because wedding planning takes a doozy of a time, even for an organization and systems nerd like me. But I also know that I am not the only business owner who has a lot going on in their business and often feels like it can be directly in conflict with the things you have going on in your life. And the reality is, one of the big reasons that I chose to be a business owner to begin with is to have the flexibility to be able to balance my personal life more fluidly. For moments like this, when I would start wedding planning and needed to be able to jump on calls in the middle of the day, or spend an annoyingly huge amount of time refining my save the date design. It's like, wow, did I not expect that to be quite such a doozy of a process. And so I just wanted to say out loud that if you are feeling this friction, it may not be with an engagement and wedding planning, but just with balancing maybe being a parent or with pregnancy. This is normal, and that we are all going through this in our own different ways. And how you navigate this becomes a big part of the life that you build for yourself. In today's video, I want to talk about a misconception that I think often comes up when you are feeling this tension between your personal life and your business life. Then we're going to talk about some things I'm reminding myself having faced this tension afresh for the first time in a while. And finally, some takeaways that I hope will help you treat yourself with a little more compassion as you still continue to strive for a business and a personal life that feel balanced and nourishing to you. And if we haven't met before, my name is Samantha. I'm a 2-time small business owner and an operations and systems consultant at Exhale Operations, where we help creative care and service-based business owners run their businesses more efficiently so they can spend their time focused on the things that they actually enjoy. So if any of that sounds appealing to you, we would love if you would hit subscribe down below. So let's dive in with the first misconception that I feel like comes up anytime I talk to anybody who is feeling like they have something coming up in their life that is competing with their ability to succeed in their business. Could be you're preparing for maternity leave, or you are really recommitting to your health or your hobbies. As I said, for me right now, it's the early stages of wedding planning. The most common reaction that I see when people hit this moment is that their instinct is to get organized. Air quotes, get organized. And the problem is, I almost always see this instinct backfire on people. And here's why. If you don't already feel organized, what that really means is that you're not already in the habit of maintaining your systems in a way that works for you without ongoing effort. And if you then start to try to do this right now while you have this new big obligation in your life, what it normally looks like is adding more. You're like, oh, well, I need to set up that task manager, or I'm gonna build a new dashboard in Notion, or I'm gonna start having Claude remind me to check the wedding inbox or the whatever it is in your life right now. But do you see how that's adding more to your list? I am personally guilty of this myself, as I jumped into wedding planning and was realizing that I was missing a lot of the deadlines that I'd set for myself on my business stuff. And my first instinct as a systems lover was like, oh, I have to build a system to hold myself accountable for XYZ. And then I all of a sudden had spent 2 hours in Claude scoping out what it might look like to build a wedding planning dashboard that my fiance would have access to, and maybe my wedding planner. And I had to catch myself, as I am guilty of all these things too, and go, Samantha, the goal is not to add more things to your to-do list right now. The goal is to feel less overwhelmed with all the things that we have on our to-do list right now. So if you catch yourself in this moment of trying to get organized as a way to feel more relief or less overwhelmed in this moment, first of all, I feel you. And here are a couple of reminders that I have been giving myself through this process that I hope can help you reset your perspective and actually begin making changes that will actually give you relief. Because once I started implementing them over the past couple of weeks, I actually have started to feel more like I have my life under control. The first reminder that I would give you is 9 times out of 10, the most important thing you need to do to feel relief in what you're focused on right now is to delete things rather than to add them. So obviously that sounds easier said than done, because you're like, yeah, but stuff has to get done at some point. And while I agree with you, I think there's some other ways to work around this. Like, you can actually space things out more often than you realize. So on a given day, you might need to remove some of the personal subject matter to-dos in order to be successful in your business stuff. That doesn't mean that you're removing them permanently. They're gonna go on a different day or a different hour. But in order to feel relief, to actually feel like you have things under control, you're gonna have to be smart about your decision making and prioritize things kind of on a rolling basis so that you can feel in control of your Friday and then in control of your Tuesday, rather than trying to have everything on your to-do list on Friday, getting overwhelmed, distracted, not getting anything done, and then you're overwhelmed both on Friday and Monday and Tuesday. The second reminder that I would give you is to keep things as or more simple than you have been running them historically. So if you have been a paper notebook to-do list girl, now is not the time to build a fancy online system. Now, if you have a to-do list system built in Asana that you've been using that's been working for you, use that or something even more simple to manage this more hectic period of your time rather than upgrading to a fancier software, because again, we're trying to remove things, not add. And when it comes down to it, simpler is almost always better in helping us feel in control, even if it feels a little old school. Once you have your feet underneath you, once you feel like you've kind of got control, then you can explore if it might make sense to improve or build something more advanced. But like now, keep it simple. And the next reminder that I would give you is to just do the extra 10%. I'll give you an example of this. I have been working through the save the date process. And as I was updating and collecting addresses to send out these save the dates to all our loved ones, there were lots of moments where I would get a tweak to an address. Oh, it's drive, not place. Or actually, we should send this person's to this address. And I was already at the end stage of having addresses on the designs for envelopes. And so I would make that update. And it could have been very easy for me to stop there. And technically the task was complete that I had to do at the time. But I was reminding myself that the best way to feel organized is to just do the extra 10%. And what that would look like is in that individual moment that I updated place to drive on Uncle Susie's, who has an Uncle Susie, Aunt Susie or Uncle Tom's email, to take the extra 10 seconds to go back to the spreadsheet that we had logged the addresses to begin with and tweak it there. Now, notice what I wasn't doing was then also making sure that that update flowed into the tracking system for RSVPs. That is a bigger problem that would have made this task too overwhelming to deal with. But by challenging myself to do just the extra little 10% when I completed a task, I'm saving myself from accumulating overwhelm over time, but I'm not giving myself so much that it is like adding a whole second task to the to-do list while I'm just trying to get things done. But another really big thing that we have to talk about in the context of being a business owner and balancing your personal life is remembering the importance of asking for help. And the reason that many of us don't do this often have way more to do with our own internal beliefs than anything external. You might be the type that says to yourself, oh, when I delegate, things don't get done right. Or it would take me as much time to give them direction as it would to just do it myself. Or I don't have somebody that I can count on to do this. If you're like me in wedding planning, I really hope that your fiance is somebody who is trustworthy enough to ask for help, because we want that in a partner that we're choosing for a lifetime. But even I could catch myself going, oh, well, I'm the only one who cares about like design or the font choice for our wedding website. And so that's something I can't delegate to him. But reminding myself has been important that a big part of me keeping my sanity and being happy through this whole process is going to be depending on other people. And so I have to find ways to do that. This is something that could be a whole other video, so if you're interested in that, definitely drop a comment down below. But I fundamentally think these beliefs are not necessarily just like a personal life problem, but actually something that could be majorly getting in the way of your own business growth. If you struggle to bring in people to help you, like consultants or contractors to execute certain tasks, you're fundamentally limiting your business's growth and your growth as a business owner, because you only have so many hours in the day. And so your ability to build systems that you trust and bring in people that you trust to help you run those systems are a core part of you being able to get more time to do the bigger strategic thinking that you need to scale your business and your revenue. Also fundamentally your time, which then allows you to go do those personal things that we're talking about here. I often say that the CEO's job is two things: decision making and strategic risk taking. Everything else is the team's job. And this applies even if you are a solopreneur running everything. You have times when you're in CEO brain, and then other times when you're in marketing person brain or client delivery brain or admin brain. And fundamentally, our job as CEOs is, number one, making sure that we have time to be CEO, that we're not spending all our time executing in the business, that we have no time to do that bigger picture strategic planning. But also when we are in CEO brain, our biggest job is to make decisions for the health and growth of our business. And sometimes those are the strategic risk-taking of delegating tasks. If you take the risk of delegating a task to somebody else, but what you get out is 3x productivity because you got all the time back, and then the output that they gave you was actually twice as good as you think, 3x return on that strategic risk, no brainer. I often think about this with Exhale clients. They take a strategic risk in deciding to hire us, and that risk isn't just in the amount of time that they're spending working with us, but the financial investment that they make hiring external consultants to help them improve their systems. For example, when one therapist who hired me saw a 2x increase in her traffic from search within 60 days of working with Exhale, that was a return on her strategic investment that I would like to think was worth it for her. When another client was able to double the amount of content that she was able to put out because we had a system that helped her run it more efficiently behind the scenes, and she wasn't just having to down on her computer and look at an empty page every time she wanted to create content, that was the return that she got from finally delegating the systems building of her business. And I would like to think that she was happy with that investment. So you may be taking a risk by asking your fiance to do the research on potential, transportation vendors for your wedding, or to handle the grocery shopping for the week because you have 2 doctor's appointments and that's really what you need to be focused on. Or to ask your friend to make the dinner reservation because you really want to be able to make it to that workout class and you just can't handle the mental load. The examples are infinite. But you are always going to have to take strategic risks in terms of delegating. Wow, there's a whole other video about the trust issues piece of that. If you are in this moment of trying to balance a big personal commitment and your business commitment, thinking about this from the CEO perspective of strategic risk-taking being a part of your job and learning how to do it well, even if there's some trial and error, is an important part of you being able to grow and scale your business and ultimately your personal life, which is the whole goal to begin with. So in summary, when you are balancing these 2 big things and the personal life commitment may feel like a little bit of an existential threat to you succeeding in your business, a reminder that sometimes we got to get out of our own way. And if systems and operations are something in your business that are getting in your way of growth, may I volunteer Exhale as tribute? You can book a call via the link in our description down below for that. When you are navigating these big moments and you feel like you have more things on your to-do list than ever, the goal is not to add things more, but to take things away, to keep things simple, and that is actually the only way that we are going to get through this. As somebody who needed this reminder herself, if you are navigating your own personal transition, please drop in the comments down below what it is, because I'd love to celebrate you or cheer you on as you are navigating whatever it is right now. And if this video was at all helpful for you, I would love if you would hit subscribe down below. And with that, I gotta get back to wedding planning, so I'll see you in the next one.